All right, so I'm going to share with you one of the secrets to direct mail. I didn't realize how many people were interested in direct mail, but for all my direct mail people out there that are interested, I have an affinity for you. I grew my business with direct mail, and without going into too much of the story, I'm going to give you the one thing that was a game changer for me. So, first of all, I studied under Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy does have a book around direct mail. I'll put a link down in the description. And before I get into this, guys, listen, my name is Michael Reese. I'm a digital marketer. I help agents across North America with social media, building funnels, attracting clients. And direct mail is part of a funnel, because direct mail is a strategy that can help you build a brand through consistency, but it helps you drive traffic. And there's a lot of pros and cons. One thing about the direct mail is you can pick the neighborhood, right? You can go after people if it's a buy side, sell side. If you want to go after homeowners, people who are currently in a lease. But the real question is, well, what's the biggest constraint? Well, good question. What is the biggest constraint? A constraint by definition is a budget is a constraint by definition, okay? And everybody's on a budget. And that's the good thing about direct mail, is because you can do what we call is roll the list. So imagine you have a 10,000 person list, but you have a budget. And your budget only allows you to mail 1,000 of them, right? The thing about direct mail is you can mail 1,000, then obviously get the success, mail the next 1,000. Once you make money, you can then bump it to 2,500, and you can go through the list and then do it again. So that's one thing. Direct mail scales, right? It scales. You can scale with direct mail. Once you nail it, you can scale it. But if you think about Elon Musk, his challenge with NASA was that NASA had decades in front of him, and he took the job of filling the space station. How did he do that? Well, again, good question. He created the vertical grasshopper landing that allowed him to iterate on the process faster. He could land a rocket if he could refurbish a rocket and not take 6 months to do the next launch. He could become a learning machine. And direct mail is about becoming a learning machine, because once you learn it, it can give you everything you want. Whether it's you can tweak your messaging, you can tweak your you can grow your area. But what gave me an advantage was two things. One is we didn't have every door direct, which is one thing where you can actually drop inside a postal code, right? When you drop inside of a postal code, what you'll see, and we'll see if this says it, but usually you'll look on the back and it'll say current resident. So you won't be able to see it, but it says resident. It doesn't have a name. That means it's really easy for the post office to print this out. They don't have to customize it. All they have to do is have the addresses and send it to everybody in that postal code. And this right here used to be what they call it says right here, have you seen me? This company has changed. Obviously it's called Save. It used to be called Advo. And Advo has a missing child's card. And what happens is, what the mail company, and this is huge, guys. This was my game changer. I shared this with other people. It was a game changer for them. First of all, Dan Kennedy says collect your mail, okay? Collect it for 1 year. So take out your personal stuff and all the marketing that comes. See the frequency. So like if you're going through this mail, you'll see that someone just mailed a real estate card, right? This looks like rapid fire home buyer, right? We want to buy your house. Not really technically a good list because the houses are relatively new. I don't know why this person was on the list, and it was mailed to somebody who doesn't own the house. They lease the home. And so it says no repairs, we buy as is, no fees. This is going to be obviously, the URL is very small. It's got a call or text. It's got an out of town phone number. I don't like that. And guess what? No QR code, right? So I'm going to collect that. Collect your direct mail like baseball cards. Look at the things you like, the things that you don't like. You're putting together a masterpiece. But what you wouldn't see, and this is what I want to point out to you, what you wouldn't see is in this, you then want to call. So what happens is this is a company that sends out all of these different pieces. They sell the overage. So I used to have in this an insert that would say, what's your home's worth? And when the guy would show it to me, he would say, well, it's going to come like this, but in yellow and red. Perfect. It would say, what is your home's worth? Find out now. Or it could say friscohomevalues.com, right? With the tagline underneath. It could have a QR code. Again, you want to find out, once you start collecting the direct mail, you want to find out who the sender who the sender is, who the advertiser is, and find out and meet with the ad rep. The reason why no one would ever call with this is they wouldn't know that this company actually has, first of all, they have multiple zones, right? So they're going to have zones all through Dallas-Fort Worth. They might have 17 zones. One zone, there in Frisco, there was 2 zones. There was one side of the highway and the other side of the highway. So they had 2 zones. And one side of the highway, the houses are a higher average price than the other side. So again, maybe you'd work one side versus another. Maybe it's your target market, whatever. The main thing is they had this thing called the Detached postcard. And when they print this on here, that means there's no one buying that advertisement. A detached postcard would be the way that it worked, and don't quote me on this, but I'm going to give you to the best of my memory, and I don't want to be specific about days, but what would happen is they don't have to print on this. They don't have to print on this. If you have a magazine or anything in your mailbox that has a white box and it could be printed on, but there's no printing on it, it doesn't say current residence, then that means there's a postcard in your mailer or in your mailbox that actually will have their company's information, very small, usually in fine type. And that means they sold that freestanding postcard, full color, that doesn't even have to go out the same day, just has to go out the same week. So they can drop this on a Monday. They can drop it all at the post office at the same time. And the postman can sort the postcards and say, hey, Thursday's gonna be a light day. We'll put the postcards in Thursday. We'll drop these on Monday. They have this, because this is how it works. So the postman grabs, kind of like a newspaper boy. I was the newspaper boy. So you grab your stuff, you drop your papers. He's got certain things that need to go out on certain days, along with the stuff that is directed for that person. This is to the resident, remember. And so you can get a freestanding postcard. The cool thing is, back then, and this, it was full color, full bleed. They would design it. When I first started, full color, full bleed with postage, 5 cents a card. 5 cents a card. I did that for years and years and years and years. They went up, to 7 cents, then to 10 cents, and then I would buy other zones and I would negotiate it back down. The truth is, guys, I would have paid a lot more. I would have probably paid triple because it worked so well. When those cards would hit, I ended up finding Clippers Magazine, Advo, and then Frisco Style Magazine had a detached card. Again, I collected my mail. I found people with the white boxes, and I attached the I attacked the bottleneck just like Elon. If he has a competitive advantage, if you have a competitive advantage that you can send out, 7 cards, where your competitor, for them to learn, they can only send 1 for the same cost, then you can learn faster what works. You're more likely to crack the code, right? You can test the headline, you can test the different calls to action, you can add risk reversal, guarantees. And so messaging is extremely important, and we will cover messaging, some of the frameworks and the best things. But again, you'll start to have awareness. My suggestion, find a place in your house, go buy one of those, like, they're folders, and they have like what is that called, an organ or something like that? It has little slots, and put in all of the mail in the different slots and start organizing it, once a week or once a month. Say, hey, listen, I'm going to find out what Advo does. This says the Dallas Morning News. I used to advertise on dallasnews.com. Was another competitive advantage, huge advantage. They had a feature for realtors that no realtors would ever use. So for a couple years, I had an advantage there. I'd get free featured listings. They brought in all the listings. No one featured their listings. They got tons of traffic. They mailed, their newspaper went to, a huge distribution, and that's how radio works. Radio works, not everybody listens to radio, but for the few that do, you can own that mind share by being consistent over time. You can build a brand with that audience. And so for people who do go to the Dallas News, or people who do listen to talk radio, or people that do pay attention to, the different offers in their mail, once you get that person, if you have a brand over time, if you're consistent over time, with a strong value proposition, people are going to say, when I want some, like for me, I'm like, man, free Buffalo Ranch chicken sandwich, that looks pretty good. I'm not a coupon puller, but there's a lot of people in the world that are going to pull coupons, and they're going to keep that, and that's going to work for them. So again, collect your mail, pay attention. Look at that QR code. Free food, sign me up, Whataburger. Look, another QR code, calls to action. Scan to join Whataburger's reward and receive a free Whataburger. Again, Dan Kennedy would say, collect your mail, study your mail. That's what he would say. I'm going to put in the description a link to the best. I'll give you at least 2 really good books that you need to read if you want to get good at direct mail. And again, remember, if you can win direct mail, then you can control. You're in control of the traffic. When you drop the mail, traffic comes to the site. You can play red light, green light. If you want to scale, you can go to certain neighborhoods and you can build a brand. It's the trifecta. And remember, if you like videos like this, listen, I'm having a little baby girl tomorrow. I'm having a baby girl tomorrow in less than 24 hours. I drove early in the morning. I got my man behind the camera here, Woods Davis, always holding it down, trying to create value for our community. If you like this video, please, if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. We're working hard to be consistent, right? It's discipline over time. We're trying to be consistently adding you value. If you find value in this type of content, then make sure you let us know by leaving a comment and turn on notifications. And hopefully you've already subscribed.